Hey everybody, Mark and Melody here for another episode of The Whole Message, and today I don't know what we're doing today. What are we doing today?
We're just talking.
Just talking?
That's the second best thing we do. First is cooking and talking.
Well, and Melody's having a pretty tough day today. Yesterday, somebody stole a pair of her shoes out of her basket at Goodwill.
I said, Mark, we had a little time off, so I went thrifting, and I found a pair of Coach, like Mary Jane's little tiny, the slippers, just little flats. They were precious, brand new, never been worn, like $3. And I am so happy, and I forget about having my husband watch the cart because I'm thinking, we're in Goodwill, right? So I had tried on this cute little blouse in the dressing room and come out. When I went to go pay for my stuff, my shoes were gone. And I said, how bad does it have to be to steal something at the Goodwill?
Out of your cart.
Out of my basket.
Yeah.
And I woke up.
It was only a $3 pair of shoes.
Oh, but they were probably $300.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it was a real find for you.
A good find, brand new. They were my size, and I was just like,
yeah.
Yay!
And a day later, it's still affecting her.
She's
is.
Like, I woke up this morning like, can you believe they stole my shoes out of my cart? And then when I was talking to the lady up at the front, she said, well, nobody's come through here to pay for them. And I'm thinking, lady, if they stole them from me, they're not going to pay you for them.
That's a good point. Or did you go running all over the store to look for them?
We did.
She did, didn't she? I can see her too. Hey, let me go through your stuff. Let me go through your stuff. I would have taken them
right out of their cart. But the person who I will accuse probably in my mind, who was hanging around my cart a little bit, they were long gone.
Where's the manager? Yeah. I want to see those videotapes. Let's get that culprit.
No, it's really
I want
sad.
my $3 pair of shoes.
Yeah, it was so sad. Hey, you know what?
That's the big thing in the news today, I guess.
Well, you know what? Think about it. I could have went to Macy's or Dillard's or someplace and bought. I wouldn't have paid that much for a pair of shoes.
No.
I'm in ministry, folks. We don't do that.
No.
But God always supplies us a $300 pair of shoes
exactly.
for $3.
Yeah.
You know, that's the awesome thing about it. But I almost put it on Facebook, and I was telling Brenda, because I called her on the phone. Brenda.
Oh, did you really?
Yes, I did. I said, you're not going to believe this. She just bust out laughing. She said, it must be really bad. And I said, yeah, this is pretty bad to think somebody would steal out of your cart at the Goodwill.
Yeah, this is the world we live in.
Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk?
See, 100 years ago, you wouldn't dare walk around town with something you had stolen because people would see it. You know, somebody might see it. But nowadays, it's such a big world that, you blend into the crowd.
You know, when I left the corporate world, and I used to be one of those people that would pay $150 for a skirt. It wasn't nothing. Go out and drop $500 on a suit and a pair of shoes. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I made the money. I could afford it. Now I go buy the $500 outfits because somebody spent the money, didn't like it, doesn't fit, and they take it to the Goodwill, and then I reap their rewards because it's different now. You know, I don't have that kind of money, and I feel like God has given me a mind to use my money as good as I possibly can. But when I go to the Goodwill and I see these, I'm talking things with price tags on them. I seen a pair of Coco Chanel shoes at a Goodwill in Fort Worth, Texas, that had a $366 price tag on them, Mark. Price tag still on them. I didn't buy them. They weren't my kind, and I didn't buy them. Passed them up because I didn't like the style of them. But I sit and think, wow, what a throwaway society we live in now, that everything is just disposable no matter how much money it costs. People are starving and hungry.
Have you seen some of these things out there, protest Goodwill because the CEO makes this much money or whatever the case might be?
Well, it's okay to make
money. They do that
money
with different businesses and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not worried about that. Somebody worked hard to get there, and they're doing a good service around the country, the Goodwill stores. They have a lot of different Goodwills have places that you can go for education and job employment services and different things like that. And
but
it is a business. It is a business. It is a business.
It is a business, but that was funny. That was. I went to
bed. I can see you in there.
I went to bed thinking, who could do such a thing? You know, I was really wanting those shoes. But to be honest with you, I got a beautiful pair of high heels my husband picked out.
Unreal. Well,
but if you're out there watching and you took my shoes that I really wanted, I did get in the car and pray for you that God would forgive you.
And the address is on the screen. Yeah, so anyway, we got a lot of cooking to do, so we're going to get in the kitchen. We've got a little bit of news desk. I've got the office desk, too. We got some information there.
Yes,
so let's get to these segments, and we'll see you later on in the program. Yeah, that's really good stuff, Melody. You're wondering what we're talking about here. This is a hickory smoked to dried Torrelia yeast. And
but
she's
you
like,
don't shake it. You don't shake it and open it at the same time, which I did, and then woo, it hit you. That smells good though, doesn't it? When I make beans, like ham and beans, this is what I use for my ham seasoning.
Okay.
I love this stuff.
Well, we're making Portobello Bacon today.
We are.
And I'm going to slice up the bacon, so hand me my big old chopper
The big
over
one?
there. And then you're going to make the little marinade that we're going to do.
Okay.
And I've got half cup of maple syrup, got about a quarter cup of melted down coconut oil, and then I'm going to add some salt to it.
So you want that in here?
So, right. So those are my key ingredients.
Okay.
And that's all you need.
Really?
But
what about a secret?
Melody has a really good apple smoked applewood. Yes, applewood.
I love
And you
this.
can see I'm cutting these just, eighth of an inch type of thing. The thinner the better type of mentality. And I'm actually going to save the ends because I'll just use those in something else. But there we go. We'll just cut those ends off. And actually, you don't even need the right, we're going to pull the stem off of there too.
Now, Mark, how much do you want of this?
Go for it. Do what you do best. Do what you do best. I saw that.
Would you? You saw me what?
I don't know, but I'll get it when I get the reviews. Yeah, she's always talking to the camera when I'm looking down working on something.
Me? Who, me?
Yeah, yeah.
Mark? No, I wouldn't do something like that.
It already tastes
Like bacon?
like it's going to work, yeah.
Like it's going to work. Is it better? Do you want some drizzle?
Right. We're just going to take that and just keep on doing what you're doing.
Okay.
It's probably plenty of bacon, isn't it?
I think so.
Plenty.
Don't want to tear them up. You know what? I've never eaten bacon, but I've always loved the smell of it, what I could smell. But, wow.
Are you starting to
Look at
catch
that.
the vision here?
Yes, I catch it. Get some more of this good stuff down here.
In fact, you just keep on stirring because you know what I'm going to do, don't you?
I know exactly what he's going to do.
Break out the gloves. Oh, good. You got some parchment paper over there, too.
Yes. You want some?
Yeah, let's get a sheet just to cover this pan here. But I like your applewood concept there because I remember years ago getting bacon in the restaurants, and there was this double smoked bacon. And the double smoked was what we used to, that was like the top of the line. Okay, see how that looks like that? And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to lay these babies out when they've got a coating on them, the ones that got a coating on them. And what do you think, like that?
I think so. I like the fact that you're baking them in the oven.
Oh, this is working good. Yeah.
I love portobellos too. Has such a texture of meat, and I use it in a lot of my recipes, like in chili or stews. I'll use portobellos.
Well, I've done some eggplant bacon.
Have you really?
That works really good. But I just, was looking at this portobello, and I'm like, man, it just kind of has that look of a thick cut bacon.
Look at the black piece on the end. And
Right.
light color. Yeah, it almost looks
Exactly.
like the ribbon of fat.
So we're going to throw this in the oven. And I'm
what do you
actually
cook
going
this?
to, I'm going to keep it at a lower temperature.
You're going to dry it out.
Yeah, I want to get those things absorbed a little bit in there and get that baby drying out. And then right at the end, I might crank it up just to give it a little sizzle
Okay.
on the top.
Wow.
But that's what we'll do. I'll get another pan for that. And in fact, we might be able to just make it all in here, huh? It's going to shrink up anyway. Hopefully it won't stick too bad. You're getting that maple, which is a big bacon flavor.
It is. It's, have you maple cured? I've seen that when I've been in the stores.
Exactly. Okay, so that's going to go in the oven. And we'll just start at 300 degrees until it's all tightened up, and then we'll shock it. And be back
those are my 2 pieces.
to show you exactly what it's going to look like in just a couple minutes. Portobello bacon.
Now that looks unique.
Isn't that something?
That really looks unique.
It's hot. I mean, this is
hot.
right out of the oven. I had it at 375. Did it for about half hour, and then I flipped them over for about 15 more minutes.
Mark, that looks like a piece of bacon.
Right, with the fat and the meat. Yeah.
Wow.
Now we've got the maple flavoring, like like a bacon would have. You've got your apple. Smoke if you got some liquid smoke, that would probably be really good in it. Some liquid smoke. And
it's all good.
boom. So just like that.
I've tasted a fake bacon before. This is really good.
It's got a crispiness to it. It's got a meatiness to it.
When that cools off, it's going to be crispy.
It's got a little stickiness to it. And it's got the flavor of bacon. BLTs.
Let's try that.
That's the whole thing. That's what I was looking at doing with this. It just melts in your mouth too. It's like candy. It's almost like candy.
Is this the first time you've tried this recipe, or have you done it before?
Yeah. No, I've done it with the eggplant.
You've done it with the eggplant.
So,
this is the first time you've done it.
But
with
when
the
we were
portobello.
slicing those portobello mushrooms the other day, it looked like a fat line on it, and I thought, well, let's just run with it.
Anybody who can make a moat out of vegetables and have a water fountain.
Those were fun. We should do that.
Those were fun. We need to do that sometime.
But there you go.
Great.
Portobello bacon.
Portobello bacon.
At a fraction of the cost.
You never know what you're going to see when Mark and I are in the kitchen. You really, really don't. He tricks me sometimes, but I've got some things going on up here. I'm going to get him back. But either way, y'all join us back next time when you see us in the kitchen.
See you next time. Hey everybody, Mark Anthony here, where I get in my office desk here and really show you the whole message and a lot of the things that people just don't realize out there, because we are in this upside down world. We are being bombarded by all these things. Wait. Can y'all hear me out there? All right. Yeah, I can see the audio tech is over here saying, put the thing next to your mouth. And that's what happens in real life. And I got to run 2 mics, actually, because we're doing 2 different recordings here. Amen. But anyway, I wanted to show you what reality is out there and what perception is, because in society, we're getting so bombarded by media and internet that all we get is perception when we don't understand reality. And I want to share with you this post right here. And this is the average number of deaths per year in the United States of America. And heart disease, 610,000 people die of heart disease. Cancer's 584. So that's over 1 million people right there just from heart disease and cancer alone. And then down here in the smaller levels here, it's accidents is 130,000. Prescribed meds is 120,000 deaths from prescribed medication. That's kind of extremely high to have that many. 128,000 people die by accidental, could be overdoses or doctors that are prescribing wrong meds. Alcohol is 88,000. Alzheimer's is 84,000. 36,000 people die from the flu, and only 13,000 people die from guns every year. Here's the interesting part. By the way, I checked all this too. I went to this is the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, and went through their numbers and went through the World Health Organization's numbers, and this is pretty accurate, within 10%. And But it just goes to show you, all of society is like, oh, we got to get these guns out of society. They're killing people. When that is just this little itty bitty blip compared to the hundreds of thousands of people that are dying from food related, which most of these diseases, these heart disease and cancers, they're from food related deaths. I mean, these are from people that have been eating an unhealthy lifestyle for years. I mean, these numbers should be way down here. And it's just not that way, because we are indoctrinated by what the media throws out at you. And even the flu is down here at 36K. But oh, you got to go get those flu shots. Get those flu shots, or somebody's going to die. Get those flu shots. You know, and if you want to get flu shots, go get them. You know, I love the prescribed medications, with 128,000 people dying from prescribed medications. Probably just consuming too much of it. But anyway, just want to share with you that the world we see is not really the reality of what's going on out there, and by far the heart disease and cancer, which most of it's all linked to diet and exercise, you know, where guns and flu and things like that are way down at the bottom side, and even Alzheimer's is going to be, linked with food too. So that's the whole message for today, and we'll see you next time.
Well, we're back in the kitchen after
Done.
I know, is it like...
All the dishes are done, thanks to Scrubby.
Scrubby?
Thank you, Scrubby. Scrubby, wherever you are.
Who is Scrubby? I wonder who Scrubby is.
We nicknamed Melody's husband Scrubby, because I'm telling you, he is so good at scrubbing. It's like an automatic dishwashing machine. Boom.
I don't know that he's ever worked as a dishwasher, but he sure did a good job, and I appreciate it.
Well, if you need an extra little funding, maybe
have
you
Scrubby
can
go to the...
maybe you can contract him out with the local Denny's and see if you can,
Wait, you're looking good. You're looking
well,
good.
Thank you.
I think
Okay. Gee, I'm blushing. Thank God your husband's not around.
No, seriously. Since we departed in January,
Right.
you've lost some more weight.
So it's been a few months. Yeah.
Have you been in working out?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, here. I got a new hole in my belt loop.
Yeah.
I just hit that maybe 2 months ago, and here we go. Here, I'll take the coat off here. I've been working out, and I mean, it's solid. And I can't take this shirt off,
No,
but
don't.
Listen, what I did was, this was back in January, and I just said to myself, I'm going to make a commitment to get to that health club every day, every other day. I'm hitting usually 5-6 times a week.
That's good.
And I'm doing a lot of weights, so I'm strength training. My curls, I'm doing 150s, and I'm knocking them out 10, 12 at a time. My bench press is up to 250, and I did it once. I've got a couple weaknesses. When you start working out, a lot of times you're going to end up where my chest muscles could do it, but
your biceps?
I'll have it, like, I've got a shoulder problem and it's stopping me. So now I'm kind of working my shoulder muscles, trying to get those shoulder. So I'm having to do different exercises to get the whole body where it's supposed to be. But
I'm just now starting back to the gym. My knee, yesterday I walked on the treadmill for 30 minutes. And that is the first time since my knee
30 minutes? And your husband did an hour. What's up with that?
My husband burned over 500 calories.
But see, you've lost weight since you've been here last too.
Yeah, a little bit. Not much. I just feel like, I feel that sloppy blah because I have not been exercising. I injured this knee last year, and let me tell you what, it has been a slow process. But I was determined to do it without surgery, and I was going to do it naturally.
And you did it.
And I did.
Yeah.
It's been persevering, but bike riding I can do.
Might act up from time to time.
It does a little bit, but it swells up here and there. But yesterday I did not push it, but I was doing the intervals where I was up and down, 30 minutes. And you know me, I used to walk 10 miles a day.
Right.
So this is almost like, this is killing me. And it's hard to get back into that cycle.
See, a lot of people think that diet is the key to getting healthy, And it is.
It is.
I mean, it is 90% of the
It
is 90% of the problem in people's lives is diet. But when you incorporate that exercise, woo! I mean, God can totally fulfill you. And I have so much energy. I feel so much better since I started working out. And my whole point was to, I said to myself, what do I want to look like 10, 20 years from now?
How do you want to feel?
Who's that guy that did the juicing and the
Jack
blending?
LaLanne?
Right. And I said, you know what? That's the way I want to be 10, 20 years from now. And I said, there's no way I'm going to get there if I'm not getting healthy now.
Wow.
So it's one step at a time. And in just a matter of months, yeah, I've got considerable improvement, but I want the longevity.
Overall.
So that way 20, 30 years from now, I'm not sitting crippled and unhealthy and having major problems.
Well, it says a lot because when Rendell and I first met, we were talking about health. That's totally what God brought us together, but we were both praying for the spiritual partner. And I was praying for God to give me somebody who could understand what I do, but I have somebody who's living this same lifestyle. He's 64 pounds down. He is
Really?
He's 64 pounds, and he's off heart medication, which is high blood pressure he was taking. He is off cholesterol medication, and he is off type 2 diabetes medication. Yeah. Now, you've met Rendell, you know Rendell. He'll be 70 years old.
Wow.
The 29th of this month.
You're an answer to prayer for him.
Yeah. And he is for me too. At the 29th of this month. And I'm going to tell you what, standing next to each other, he has far less wrinkles than I do. Yeah. And he's a picture of health. And I asked him one day, I said, how do you feel health-wise? If you put an age on you, he said, I feel in my 30s. And I said, really? He said, I do. I remember. He was active, a football player in high school. He ran track, he jogged. So he's always been pretty healthy, and then he got a little older and got kind of, you're by yourself, and boom, you start eating, activity level goes down, he put on weight.
Right.
And he felt bad, and he said, man, I felt sloppy, and I thought, this isn't how I want to be. Yeah. I'm in my 60s, and I'm telling you what, Mark, I feel active-wise maybe somewhere in my 40s.
Well, and you talk about you having wrinkles and things, but a lot of that's due to the fact that you were obese for many years.
Oh, yeah.
And you still look fabulous, but you're right. You're going to get those wrinkles and things like that. But that doesn't reflect who you are on the inside. See, society, we always judge people on the outside as to who, what they look like and things like that, where God judges us on the inside. And I just think that's what we need to look at is who you are on the inside.
And one of the things a friend of mine set up in Washington, we were talking one day, and she said, she struggled with weight. She said, I no longer want to be a billboard for Satan. I want to be a billboard for Jesus. And when we are out of shape and our health is bad and we're taking all these medications, who are we representing?
Yeah.
I want to represent my God. He gave me this body on loan. And the Bible talks about that, and it's a holy temple, and we are to respect it in that way. Right. And I disrespected my body for too many years. So I don't want people to look at me and say, oh, you're gorgeous. What I want them to do is say, you look like a picture of health. Amen. I want to look like health. Yeah. That's
and the whole thing is, we can inspire you, we can motivate you, and hopefully we're doing a good job of that and teaching you ways that you can eat healthier, easier in the kitchen. But you also still have that responsibility. It is your responsibility to take care of your body. And so if we can understand those because you want to and because you should, I guess we need both of those.
Both. And exactly. Fresh air, just a little walk, something, being outside. Oh, yeah.
Fresh air.
Some air. Yeah. It is fresh air and rest. Rest. I am...
Get a puppy. Make it walk all the time.
I don't like to nap. I'm not a napper. But I started to take a couple naps here and there. It's not bad.
Oh, it works for me. I've been a napper for years.
I have never been a napper. I don't care if I've had 2 hours sleep. I can run on fumes. And Mark can tell you, I can run on fumes.
Yeah, she has. She's been running circles around me here, and she's 10 years older. She's been, especially the last couple of days, I just, wait, what did you do? Drink some coffee or something? She just, whoa, boom, boom, boom.
No.
You were right on it.
If I had caffeine, could you imagine me on caffeine?
No, please, no.
And the thing about me is when I sit still, my body thinks it's time to go to sleep
Yeah.
because it's not used to stopping.
Yeah, but those naps are great. Just enough to get your blood pressure down to normal.
Yes.
That's what I do.
And walking, you don't have to run, just a little leisure walk, just something. My husband and I are talking about maybe getting, I can't think of what those little boats are that we want to get in. Not a paddle boat,
Jet
not
ski.
a canoe. No.
Yeah, get the Triton 350, man. Those things move. Yeah.
But kayaking. We want to do some
Okay.
kayaking, so we're thinking about that, and backpacking and hiking, and look at our age.
Yeah.
And we're thinking about things we can do to get out there more.
And especially you look at society. Look at how many people are in their 60s and 70s that are at the end of their life. I mean, because they've treated themselves so unhealthy over the years. And God can change that. He can transform you in very little time at all to being at the end of your life, to having a healthy, vibrant life for many years to come, regardless of what age you're at. So, go for it.
Have you seen the little comics that's out there? It is so awesome. But it has a picture of a drugstore on this corner and a picture of a health food store on this corner. And the people going into the drugstore are fat and feeble, and the people going in the health store and coming out are just
healthy
vibrant
and energetic.
Oh, yeah. And I thought, wow, that's something to think about. Because I've stood in line at Walmart where people are waiting on their drugs, and I've literally stood there watching, not in line, I mean, stood there and watched them, and they look sick. They're sick.
I did see, I posted it too. It was a post with the grocery store, and it was saying, well, if the grocery store has a health food section, what does that say about all the other food that's in the grocery store?
And people like Kroger, who's designated how much percent, what is the percentage of their footage, their square foot they have designated to health food.
Amen.
Loving it.
Loving it. Well, that's our program, and we thank you all for tuning in. We pray that you will take these messages to heart and make a commitment to getting healthier, and because every one of us can take more steps, and that's what we need to do.
We need to do it. And as mothers and as parents, we need to be on hand, on charge for not only ourselves, but we need to be an example for our children and our families.
Exactly. So we'll see you next time in the kitchen. All right, time to show you how to make the perfect brown rice. And this is one of those things, this is absolute genius. And that's what I like to do. I like to show you the intelligent way to cook in the kitchen. And all you got to do, now, you know the ratio, right? You know the ratio, 1 part rice to 2 parts water. I'm going to change that a little bit. I'm going to do 1 part rice to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts water, whatever you want to do. The bottom line is you want to have the rice boiling in here, rolling, just like pasta. So you don't want a whole bunch of rice where it's all going to stick to the bottom of the pan. So, and by the way, I buy big bags of rice, big bags of brown rice. And let me crack this open a little more here. Like that. Woo! Hey, if you're not buying rice like this quantity, you're definitely not buying enough rice. You're not eating enough rice. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You are going to love this, because I'm going to take the rice, and that would be about just right. And we'll put a little bit more in because I want some volume. But I've got way more water than I do rice in here. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring this to a boil for about 25-30 minutes. Then I'm going to drain the water off of it, put the lid on it, and let it rest for 10 minutes. And this will give you the perfect brown rice. You can't believe how perfect this is going to be. And also, what this does is it satisfies this little illusion, deception out there that, ooh, brown rice has arsenic in it. You should never eat brown rice, which is one of the stupidest things you could ever do, is quit eating brown rice because it has arsenic in it. That is one of the fear factors that you just got to understand that, well, first of all, you'd have to eat about 100 pounds a day of brown rice in order to get that harmful effect from the arsenic that is in the brown rice or on the brown rice. And you'd have to, understand that you need arsenic in the body in order for your body to function right. So they just take a little cherry picking part of it. Ooh, fear, danger, it's going to kill you. When really, in all reality, if you quit eating all these healthy foods, that's what's going to kill you. And so that's why the other concept is that if you rinse your rice, you get rid of some of that arsenic. So, which I don't mind the arsenic. I'm just showing you the intelligent way to get a perfect rice. So we're going to bring this baby to a boil, let it go for 25, 30 minutes, and then we'll come back and show you what perfect brown rice really looks like. All right, 25 minutes later, I drained the water off of this, put the lid on it, waited 10 minutes, and now we're ready to see what this brown rice turns out like. So here we go. Ho, ho, ho. Look at that. Perfect brown rice. And every single time, and all the way to the bottom, look at that. It is completely perfect. Now what we'll do is we'll actually cool this and then bag it up and freeze it and use it quite often. And there's no seasoning in this whatsoever. I didn't do any seasoning whatsoever to this. Now is when you can season if you want to add salt or tomatoes or whatever type of things you want to do. But let me tell you, is that just the most perfect rice you could possibly imagine? I mean, look at that. You could not get a more perfect rice. So that easy to do brown rice that comes out perfect every single time. And we'll see you next time in the kitchen. Hey everybody, Mark Anthony here, and I've got my pen out because I think I'm going to have to take some notes on this one. Dr. Michael Greger sent us a video here that he wants us to air that talks about which spices fight inflammation. And of course, inflammation is a big thing nowadays, which I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I agree with inflammation in a lot of different ways, but I want more. And but I thought, which spices fight inflammation? I said, okay, doctor, we'll get that taken care of for you. So let's take a look and find out exactly what the doctor has to say about spices and inflammation.
Once in a while, I come across a study that's so juicy I do an entire video about it. It's like my which fruit fights cancer better video, or the best cooking method one, or that one comparing thousands of foods. Well, this is one such study. A group of researchers at U of F, Gainesville, and Penn State set up an elegant experiment. We've known ounce per ounce that herbs and spices have some of the greatest antioxidant activities known, but that's in a test tube. Before we can ask if an herb or spice has health benefits, it's first necessary to determine whether it's bioavailable. This has never been done until now. They could have went the easy route and just measured the change in antioxidant level in one's bloodstream before and after consumption, but the assumption that the appearance of antioxidant activity in the blood is an indicator of bioavailability has a weakness. Maybe more gets absorbed than we think, but doesn't show up on antioxidant tests because it gets bound up to protein or cells, so they attempted to measure physiological changes in the blood. They were interested in whether absorbed compounds would be able to protect white blood cells from an oxidative or inflammatory injury, whether it would protect the strands of our DNA from breaking when confronted by free radicals. They also wondered if the consumption of herbs and spices might alter cellular inflammatory responses in the presence of a physiologically relevant inflammatory insult. What does this all mean? Well, what they did is take a bunch of people and had each of them eat different types of spices for a week. There's so many really unique things about this study, but one was that the quantity that study subjects consumed was based on the usual levels of consumption in actual food. Like the oregano group was given a half teaspoon a day, the kinds of practical quantities people might actually eat once in a while. Then at the end of the week, they drew blood from the dozen or so people they had adding black pepper to their diets that week and compared the effects of their blood to the effects of the blood of the dozen on cayenne or cinnamon or cloves or cumin. They had about 10 different groups of people eating about 10 different spices. Then they dripped their plasma, the liquid fraction of their blood, onto human white blood cells in a petri dish that had been exposed to an inflammatory insult. They wanted to pick something really inflammatory, so they chose oxidized cholesterol, which is like what you'd get in your bloodstream after eating something like fried chicken. So they jabbed the white blood cells with oxidized cholesterol and then measured how much TNF they produced in response. Tumor necrosis factor is a powerful inflammatory cytokine, infamous for the role it plays in autoimmune attacks like inflammatory bowel disease. Compared to the blood of those who ate no spices for a week, was the blood of those eating black pepper able to significantly dampen the inflammatory response? No. What about any of these other spices? Cloves, ginger, rosemary, and turmeric were able to significantly stifle the inflammatory response. And remember, they weren't dripping the spices themselves on these human white blood cells, but the blood of those who ate the spices. And so it represents what might happen when cells in our body are exposed to the levels of spices that circulate in our bloodstream after normal daily consumption. Not mega doses in some pill, just the amount that makes our spaghetti sauce taste good, or our pumpkin pie, or curry sauce. There are drugs that can do the same thing. Tumor necrosis factors are such major mediators of inflammation and inflammation-related diseases that there are these TNF-blocking drugs on the market for the treatment of inflammatory diseases like osteoarthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, psoriasis, ankylosing spondylitis, which rake in collectively more than $20 billion a year. because drug companies charge people $15,000 to $20,000 a year for the drug. At that price, the side effects better be hugs and rainbows. But no, these drugs carry a black label warning because they can cause things like cancer, heart failure. If only there were a cheaper, safer solution. Curcumin, the yellow pigment in turmeric, a spice that's a tad cheaper and safer, but does it work outside of a test tube? There's evidence that it may help in all the diseases for which TNF blockers are currently being used. And so with healthcare costs and safety being such major issues, this golden spice turmeric may help provide the solution.
Well, there you go. If you want to eliminate that $15,000 to $20,000 a year that you can spend on all these pills, you could just increase your turmeric and rosemary and ginger and cloves and probably get the same effect. Anti-inflammatory kind of thing. I think if you eat a well-balanced meal, you're going to receive anti-inflammatory. If you drink water, that's going to help. There's so many things. Exercise, there's so many things that I think the bigger issue is what are the products out there that are going to inflame your tissues and create problems, not to try to take a normal body and reduce it. Because here's what happens now. Here's the anti-inflammatory inflammation world that we live in today. Everything you find out on the market is going to be, oh, this is anti-inflammatory, this is good for inflammation, this is good for inflammation. And pretty soon the whole society is going to say, oh no, my body is so inflamed that I've got to do something or I'm going to die. That's not the case. Mostly your brain is just getting so inflamed by all these people that are trying to get your dollars out of your pocket to buy their products, which really aren't going to do you much good, and they might be doing you more harm than it's worth. And if you just eat the whole natural foods, and some of these spices are so good for you. Spices, I've always been a spice person, and there's a lot of home remedies out there that are fantastic anti-inflammatory type of things without spending tens of thousands of dollars on medications and without going and buying a bunch of pills that are just filled with a bunch of spices. So there you go. That's the whole message, and we'll see you next time. All right, well today I'm going to show you how to make some gluten-free brown rice pizza. And it's one of those recipes that, let me tell you, I'm not a promoter of going gluten-free, and I'm actually against it, and it's really bad for you to go gluten-free. But there are people out there that are celiacs, so I do understand that, and I do like to have some gluten-free recipes out there. The main reason I did this one was because I wanted to be able to get rid of leftover brown rice. And I love brown rice. Now, brown rice, this is hot. I actually put it in the microwave. I just reheated it, so it's leftover brown rice. You can do this with hot rice right out of the stovetop if you want to do it that way as well. But we're going to mix 2 cups of brown rice and then a couple tablespoons. There's probably 4 tablespoons right there. So that's 2 tablespoons of oat flour per cup of brown rice. And but I do use 2 cups because you're going to need that much for this particular recipe, and because we're going to make a pizza dough. So we'll just get the brown rice in here, and sometimes this is going to stick to the sides a little bit. Usually it's not too bad, depends how much moisture you have in the rice, and that's a big issue because you got to understand different rices are going to have different moisture, so you might need to take another tablespoon and plop it in there as it's going. Now what I want to do is I want to just make sure that this baby really blends, really incorporates together, and we'll take a look at it and keep it going here, but it's going to turn right into a dough ball. think that'll work. Woohoo, there we go. Yes, indeed. Let me clean up my mess here. Get a little bit of that rice shooting out of there. And then what we're gonna do, we can put this on a little sprayed paper if you want. What I'll do here, let's do it this way. And let me pop this baby out of here. And there we go. There's our dough ball. Let me get those little pieces out of there. Okay, now, the reality is, if you start with a round, you're gonna end up with a round pizza. If you start with a square, you're gonna end up with a square pizza. Now, really what I wanna do is, I don't want this thing to be perfectly round. And it is looking a little too perfect here. But we're gonna make this not look perfect here in a minute. Let me grab a little rolling pin here. And we're gonna roll this out. Just gonna keep going out, out, out. And I can see it's moving on the wax paper. So I really don't have to do any more moving or flipping or anything like that. If it stops moving, then you know it's sticking to the paper and you better spin it around or flip it over or something. But this actually works pretty good with the parchment paper and the oil there. So, okay. And we're just gonna keep rolling this out until we've got it to about 1/4 of an inch is what I'm looking for, about 1/4 of an inch. And of course you can make bigger pizzas and smaller pizzas and whatever works for you. What do you think? Like that? I think that'll work. Okay, now, you can put toppings on it right now, put it in the oven, turn it on for 20, 25 minutes and it's done. The problem is you're gonna have a little sogginess to your pizza dough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually put this in the oven, 375 degrees for 10 minutes. Then I'm gonna flip it over, put it in there for another 10 minutes. And then when it comes out, I'll add all the toppings to it, put it in there for another 10 minutes and it's done. So, but while that's going, I'll actually get some toppings cooked up and we'll be ready to eat. All right, our rice pizza dough is ready to go. And I actually put it in there 10 minutes. I flipped, look at, you can even hold it together. So that works pretty good. Now we're gonna hit it with the toppings. Now we've got some crispness to it and we can hit it with the toppings. And you can take these toppings all the way out to the edge. It's not like a regular pizza dough. You know how regular pizza dough, if you want a big crust, then you don't put the sauce out to the end. Wherever the sauce goes on a regular pizza, it will not rise. But for this one, you can do anything you want. All right, we'll hit it with some of our favorite Daya cheese. And that is definitely one of my favorites. I'll tell you, I should work for that company. We promote them enough without promoting them, technically. Okay, and then whatever toppings you want. We'll hit it with the olives. You've got different meat substitutes that you can do. You know I do all vegan, plant strong, healthy, and I've got some bell pepper here too. So make it look really cute. And since my wife's not around, I can hit it with the green onions. That's right. I should probably put some fresh basil on it too. I've got some basil growing out in the garden, but we'll just do it like this for now. And then I'd like to put a little bit of cheese on the top too, because it just kind of holds everything together when you put that little bit of cheese on the top. So boom, just like that, this goes back in the oven for 10 minutes and then we're ready to eat. All right, oh, look at that. Our pizza is good to go. And it is hot. Oh, and the bottom is still crisp. In fact, let me see if I can just do this here. There we go. Little pizza cutter. And I think I'll do this in 6s. An awkward 6, something like that. There we go. Now check this out. The bottom stays in one piece, but it's still got some moisture to it. So it is just perfect. It's hot though, I'm not, no. These camera guys would love it when I'm, but anyway, look how easy it was to make pizza with a rice base instead of flour. A lot of people out there are gluten-free, and I understand that. And you can take your leftover rice, just add some oat flour to it, put it in the food processor, and literally, not even a minute or two in the food processor, roll it out. Now it's 10 minutes in the oven. You flip it over, 10 minutes in the oven. So you're looking at 20 minutes already, and then you got another 10 minutes in here. So people are looking at this saying, man, I got a thing that's taking me 30 minutes to cook. In all reality, it's probably 5 minutes of prep time. The rest is just baking time. You're not actually having to prep anything. You know, chop up a few things for the top, and you know, your prep time is like 5 minutes to cook a healthy meal at home, rather than something that's unhealthy with all the cheese and the dairy and the animal fat and the animal cholesterol and the animal protein, which is scientifically known to be harmful, extremely harmful to the body. You've got something healthy. It's a healthy option. So there you go. That's our program for today. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time in the kitchen. Hey everybody, in this world that we live in today where everything is forward and change, especially in the political element, you know how all these politicians, let's move forward, let's have change, things like this. And I'm kind of thinking about this, and I said, you know what? To me, that's not the way to go. I think what we need to do is return and repent. Instead of forward and change, let's go back to God. Let's repent. Let's get to the place that we were before. You'll remember with Israel that they always had to return and repent, and then they became prosperous again. And that is what's going to be successful for this country, returning to those godly values and principles and repenting from the things that we have done. And the same thing globally, and the same thing as an individual. You know, every one of us had a relationship with the Lord. And if you have lost that, return to God, repent, listen to the Lord, and follow through with what He is asking you to do. And then you will receive those abundant blessings that will just blow you away. So instead of forward change, let's return and repent. We'll see you next time. Just a reminder, our books are available on the website. We've got Vegan Simplicity available. We've got Melody Purdyman's book available, Simply Yummy. Really good, great recipes in that book. Simply incredible. 400 pages, full color. And our newest edition is the Baby Steps to an Amazingly Healthier You. And this is a great 12-part DVD, has 4 discs in there, and it has a really great insight about how to take those steps one step at a time and start getting healthier. And so this is one that I think you'll really enjoy. And all these are available, chefmarkanthony.com.
Well, thank you for joining us again here at The Whole Message. And remember, you can always go to our website.
Yep. We've got the numbers on the screen.
Numbers are on the screen. The call, you can book.
Pretty easy to get a hold of.
It is. You know, we like to hear from you, even if you just want to call and chat about a recipe. Maybe you tried it. I have people that call me because Mark Anthony gets a phone call and I'll say, oh, call Melody.
Call Melody. Yeah.
Yeah, so they do that. But yeah, join us back here again on The Whole Message, where we can bring you good health information and you can check out our wonderful recipes.
We'll see you next time.